Good morning, students. Today we will start with Class 9 Economics, Chapter 2 People as Resource. In the previous class, we completed Civics, Chapter 1 What is Democracy? Why Democracy? The subtopics that we cover in today's class are Introduction to the chapter, Primary, Secondary, and Tertiary sector, Market and Non market activities, and Gender parity. With no further ado, let's start today's class. You can open your economics text, chapter 2 People as Resource. In this chapter, we will focus on human beings as an asset rather than a liability. India is a densely populated country. How can we convert this huge population as an asset? There is only one answer for that. We have to invest in education, training, and medical care. So, we know the meaning of education and medical care. Training. Training means the we need to train the people in different professions and help them to earn their livelihood. For example, training of industrial and agricultural workers in the use of modern technology. Thus people will become more productive resource. Training results in increase in the skill of a person. Population becomes human capital when there is investment made in the form of education, training, and healthcare. Human capital is superior to other resources like land and physical capital because human capital can make use of land and capital. So let us learn the chapter People as Resource through a short story. Many years ago, in a small village called Kishanpur, here you can see the picture of Kishanpur village. There lived two friends named as Ramu and Sita. Ramu's father worked on a fishing boat and Ramu's mother sold the fish at the village market. Ramu's parents are not interested to send him to the school. Sita's parents worked in the paddy field. Sita's parents wanted her to study and make a good career for herself. Thus, Sita started going to school, and when Sita started going to school, Ramu wasted his time in roaming around the village. Sita's parents took her to the doctor every time when she was sick. Ramu's parents could not afford to give him good medical care. Thus, he became a patient of chronic liver disease. In few years, Sita completed her schooling and persuaded her higher education in computer applications. Today, Sita is working in an office in the nearest city. Meanwhile, Ramu makes a meager living by selling fish in the village market. Both Ramu and Sita came from the same village and quite similar family backgrounds. But why Sita's present situation is quite better than Ramu's? There are three things in Sita's life to get a better situation than Ramu's, that is, education, medical care, and training. Uneducated and unhealthy persons like Ramu is a liability to the nation. They can contribute only very little to the society. On the other hand, educated, trained, and healthy people like Sita is an asset to the nation. These people not only contribute for themselves, they also contribute to the betterment of society. Education, training, and good medical care that perform people as an asset to the nation. Without human capital and resources like land and machines are of no use. Thus, it is because of human resources that put other resources into productive use, or else the human resources is superior to the other resources, and they are capable enough to utilize the other factors of production. The difference that is invested in education, medical care, and training that makes the human resource, it is evident in all the production sectors, including the agricultural sector. The Green Revolution in India is a direct result of better knowledge and techniques provided by farmers. For many industries like IT industry, skilled manpower or human capital is more valuable than machines and equipments. India's IT industry is a good example of how a largely human resource based industry can make a significant contribution to the gross domestic product of a country. So, gross domestic product is the total value of all the goods and services produced in a country. In this slide, in this graphical presentation, you can see as the years goes on, IT industry's contribution to the GDP is increasing at a higher rate. Next, we will analyze few examples. First, we will analyze an example from Japan. Japan is a unique country with its very high gross national product, that is due to the increase in the economic activities from the production sector. Countries like Japan and Singapore, they don't have much natural resources like oil, natural gas, coal and copper and so on. Then how come these countries became one among few of the developed nations or rich countries? They take full advantage of what they have. Japan is a country that gained great success by investing in the education and health of the population. The efficiency and the technological skill of the Japanese are evident from the fact that Japan have more exports than imports despite being poor in natural resources. Singapore mainly exports electronics and they are the key makers of computer products. These countries are developed or rich countries because they invested in human resource. Efficiency and the technology evolved by people have made these countries rich or developed. Comparing to Japan's story, there are some countries like Africa, they are enormously rich in resources, but they have largely uneducated and unskilled people. A region like South Africa may develop because of the diamond and gold mines which is present over there. The regions of Alaska is potential to develop because of the oil reserves over there. However, there are certain countries like Japan and Singapore which does not have sufficient natural resources, but still by the means of human resource they surpass any other factors and have a good going in the economy. That means human resources is an asset to the country, not a liability. Any child with an investment in education and medical care and training can become a useful human resource. The responsibility to make the child a useful resource vested with the parents. Educated parents are more inclined to invest in a child's education, healthcare, and training. The child who grows up to be a good human resource similarly takes care of his children. This forms a virtuous cycle. On the other hand, uneducated parents, they are less inclined to invest on their child's education, healthcare, and training. A vicious cycle is created by disadvantaged parents who themselves uneducated and lacking in hygiene keep their children in a similarly disadvantaged state. You are in school, which shows that your parents are willing to invest in your education. It is your responsibility to work hard to choose a vocation that interests you and become a useful human capital for your country. Investment in human resource, that is in education, training and medical care, can give high rates of return in the future. Next, we will move on to the next heading, economic activities by men and women. Economic activities are those activities which add value to national income. Economic activities can be classified on the basis of the nature of activity and purpose. Based on the nature, the economic activities are classified as primary, secondary, and tertiary sector. Now, let's analyze all the three sectors of our economy, starting with the primary sector. Primary sector is the sector of an economy making direct use of the natural resources. Examples are agriculture, forestry, mining, animal husbandry, fishing, and so on. Moving on to the next sector, secondary sector. Secondary sector converts all raw materials into finished goods such as manufacturing industries, construction activities, textile manufacturing, and so on. The next is the tertiary sector. Tertiary sector is also known as service sector. It means we are providing different types of services. And the tertiary sector helps the smooth functioning of the primary and the secondary sectors. The examples for the tertiary sector are trade, transportation, communication, education, health, storage, tourism, banking, insurance, and so on. Now let's move on to the next topic, that is classification based on the purpose of activity, that is market activity and non-market activity. Market activity, these are the activities which involve remuneration to those who perform the activities for wages or profit. Market activities includes the production of goods and services, including the government services. For example, a general merchant selling consumer durables, a shoemaker selling shoes, a vegetable vendor selling vegetables. All these are the example for the market activity. Next topic is non-market activities. Non-market activities refers to production activities which are performed for self-consumption and not for profit. The examples for non-market activities are highlighted in the slide. Examples: subsistence farming, gathering jungle produce, mother cooks for her family, fishing, and so on. Next heading is gender parity. Due to historical and cultural reasons, there is a division of labor between men and women in the family. In our society, men are expected to go out for work to earn money for the family. Women are generally expected to stay at home and look after household works like cooking, cleaning the vessels, washing, and looking after the children. The men gets paid for the work they do and contributes to the national income. However, the women never gets paid for the services delivered for upbringing of the family. Their work does not contribute to the national income. Times have changed now. Today, women also go out, work, and get paid just like men. A large number of women who have poor education and skill working in the unorganized sector. The disadvantages of working in the unorganized sector are lesser pay compared to men, low and irregular income, there is no job security, there is no legal protection, and absence of basic facilities like maternity leave, child care, and other social security systems. However, women with higher education and skill are paid out par with the men in the organized sector. You can see the image here, women working in the organized sector. In line with modern Indian philosophy of providing equal opportunities for men and women, the highest public post of President of India is occupied by a woman, Srimati Pratibha Devi Singh Patil. The 12th President of India holds office from 2007 to 2012. Education, healthcare, and training make the population as an asset to a country. Now let's have a quick recap of today's class. People as a resource, explaining that population as an asset for the country rather than a liability. Population becomes human capital when there is an investment made in the form of education, training, and medical care. Human capital is the stock of skill and productive knowledge embodied in them. The activities in economy are divided into three sectors: primary, secondary, and tertiary sectors. Economic activities have two parts: market and non market activities. There was a division of labor between men and women. Education played an important role for individuals to make better use of economic opportunities. I am concluding today's class by reinforcing that India is a densely populated country. We can convert this huge population as an asset by investing in human resources like education, training, and healthcare. The second part of this chapter will continue in the next video. You need to read the story of Sakal and Vilas from your textbook. If you have any doubts related to today's class, you can email to dmcsonlinequeries@gmail.com. Thank you, students.